What do you mean, Peter?
You were married for 10 years?
Listen, we raised children.
Tom Cruise. Here is the theory, Peter. Were you married for 10 years? Look, we brought up kids. Tom Cruise finally spoke up about the one who slipped away. At 62, the Hollywood star confessed that she was always his true love. No Nicole Kidman, no Katie Holmes, no Penelope Cruz. They kept their romance a secret for years. While fans saw his public relationships fall apart, she supported him during the Scientology issues and his career highs and lows. When asked why he never spoke up earlier, Tom just said, "I wasn't ready for the world to know." You would never guess who won his heart for good. Tom Cruise nació el 3 de julio de 1962 in Syracuse, Nueva York. His real name was Thomas Cruz Mapother Fork. Childhood was difficult. El padre era abusivo. His family was poor, had 3 sisters and moved a lot. By the time he turned 18, he had already gone to 15 different schools. There's a new school almost every year. Moving meant meeting new people, learning new rules, and not having real friends. Lo hizo flexible, lo hizo ambicioso. His family relocated to Ottawa in 1971. Tom had his first true experience with acting. Solo 10 años. Created in a small school play named Iti. No fui mucho. The school football team drank beer before a game, and also tried out for a school play. Eisendahl's play transformed everything. It seemed full of life on stage. The audience really enjoyed him. He wasn't just pretending, he was transforming. In 1980, just after finishing high school, I made a brave choice. He went to New York City with only $500. He worked as a busboy and porter while going to auditions. He made his name shorter from Thomas Cruz Mapother Fork to Tom Cruise. He practiced at the local theater. He gave all that he had. His first major opportunity came in 1981. He had a small part in the movie Love, just a few lines, but it led to Taps, where he was only meant to be a background character. The director was so impressed by his performance that the role became bigger. The teams did a great job, and people began to take notice. Luego llegaron los outsiders in 1983. Él interpretó a Steve Randall. No fui el papel principal, pero lo colocó junto a futuras estrellas. He was part of that group, but it was a risky move that altered everything. In 1983, Cruz played Joel Goodson in a coming-of-age movie about a high school student who turns his home into a brothel. It was wild, old, and amusing. Earned $63.5 million from a budget of $6.2 million. People enjoyed the movie. Lo recordó. One memorable scene shows him in his underwear, dancing to old-time rock and roll, and this became iconic. He was nominated for a Golden Globe. He was no longer only making promises. Él era una estrella, but Cruz was different from other young actors. He didn't accept substitutes, not even during Taps. He performed risky stunts on his own. On The Outsiders, he remained in character even when the cameras were not filming. The directors took notice. He got ready like no one else. He memorized scripts that had color codes. El oso audio libros. He practiced his lines while moving. It helped him get past his dyslexia. His fight turned into his power. In 1984, Hollywood reached out with Footloose. They offered him $2 million, but Cruz said no. Instead, he picked a risky fantasy movie called Legend. It failed. People claimed he messed up his career, but Cruz stayed calm. In 1986, Tom Cruise became a top star in Hollywood with the movie Top Gun. The movie earned $176 million that year, more than any other film, and made him a worldwide icon. Just behind it was Crocodile Dundee, which nearly topped Top Gun by only $2 million. Itero Cruz se adelantó. His role as fighter pilot Maverick was more than just impressive. It was exciting. Became a symbol of American confidence, with sunglasses and everything. And the movie did more than set records. It increased Navy recruitment. Young people didn't just want to watch the cruise, They wanted to be like him. Ese mismo año, él tomó otra decisión audaz. He collaborated with Martin Scorsese for The Color of Money. No fue un gran éxito. It was clever. It cost $14.5 million to produce, and made $52.3 million. Cruise acted as a pool hustler next to Paul Newman, who won an Oscar for his performance. Although Cruise didn't win an Oscar, he received something else. Respetar. D. After Top Gun, people viewed him as a star. After Color of Money, people began to see him as a genuine actor as well. It showed he could do more than just run quickly and smile. He could stand out next to legends. Years later, in 1988, Cruise did something that most celebrities wouldn't do. El dio un paso atrás. In Rain Man, he allowed Dustin Hoffman to stand out, but Cruise didn't disappear. He matched Hoffman's energy with strong feelings. In one scene, he throws underwear out of a car while shouting, Kmart sucks. Ski. No estaba en el guión. Simplemente sucedió. In another story, they were in a phone booth when Hoffman farted. Cruise's surprised expression remained in the movie. His strongest moment happened when his character read his father's will. You could see the hurt, the shock, the feeling of being let down, all in one breath. Hoffman won the Oscar, but Cruise was the support. Without him, the movie wouldn't touch his heart. Then came 1989, and everything was different. Born on the 4th of July was unique. No eran jets rápidos, ni trajes elegantes. It was a wheelchair, a war and a damaged man. Cruise played Ron Kovac, a real Marine who became an anti-war activist. The role was harsh. He practiced in a wheelchair for months, strengthening his upper body until it felt natural. He didn't just act the role, he really experienced it. Hospital scenes were intense. He shouted, wept, and fell apart. It was chaotic, relatable and memorable. The film earned $162 million, and gave Cruise his first Oscar nomination. También ganó un Globo de Oro. People stopped referring to him as merely a movie star. They began to refer to him as one of the best. Tom Cruise was once a committed Roman Catholic. Everything changed in 1986 when he met actress Mimi Rogers. Se casaron el 9 de mayo de 1987. Ni no era solo una actriz. She was very deeply involved in Scientology. Her father had been involved in it since the 1950s. Para ella, la cienciología no era algo nuevo. It was how she lived her life. She was also an auditor in the church, which meant she had an important role. Their marriage ended on February 4, 1990, but Cruise kept the religion. Even after their divorce, he still stayed connected to Scientology. When the tabloid Star announced his involvement in 1990, it made news. Cruise didn't publicly confirm it until a Barbara Walters interview in 1992, but by that time, he was already very involved in it. One of the main reasons Cruise accepted Scientology was due to his dyslexia. He had been dealing with it since he was 7 years old. He said he completed high school in 1980, but could not read or write well. Reading made him feel nervous. No podía concentrarse. He felt foolish, but he found hope in something called study technology, created by L., the founder of Scientology. Ron Hubbard. Cruise mentioned that it changed his life. Nadie se me dio una solución, explicó, but I learned to read very well using Hubbard's method. That breakthrough was a key moment. In 2016, while promoting Jack Reacher II, he stated, I wouldn't be where I am without it. It's a lovely faith, I feel very proud. At that time, he had been a Scientologist for more than 30 years. Cruise also became very close to the leader of Scientology, David Miscavige. Their friendship began in the 1980s, but it wasn't always easy. According to Ronald Miscavige, David's father, the church once held a big welcome party for Cruise at the Sea Org base in Florida. They even created a pool that looks like a fancy sailboat. It appears that you have only provided the letter L. Please provide a specific text for paraphrasing or simplification. Ron Hubbard's personal chef prepared a special meal, but the crew arrived 4 hours late and went to sleep right away. David was very angry. This demonstrated how tense the situation could be between two of the most influential people in the church. In late 1999, Cruise nearly left. He reportedly became frightened when church leaders said they would share information about Xenu, a mysterious alien character in Scientology stories. He stepped away, but the church didn't want to let him go, so they sent Marty Rathbun, a high-ranking official, to convince him to return. Cruise returned to work and kept studying. By the early 2000s, Cruise had become more than just a follower. He became an advocate for Scientology. He started using his fame to seek official recognition for it as a religion, especially in Europe. In 2005, the Paris Council announced that Cruise had reached out to important French politicians, including Nicolas Sarkozy, but it did not work out well. French officials described him as a militant representative of Scientology, and ended all connections with him. That didn't stop him. After the 9/11 attacks, he helped create a group named Downtown Medical. It provided detox treatment for rescue workers in New York City. Many doctors criticized it, saying there was no scientific support for it. In 2004, David Miscavige awarded Cruise the Scientology Freedom Medal of Valor for his work. The church saw him as a hero. As Cruise became more involved in Scientology, he also sought to recruit others into the church. Former Scientologist Paul Haggis said that Cruise attempted to recruit some well-known people. That list included James Packer, the Beckhams, Jada and Will Smith, and even Steven Spielberg. These conversations weren't just casual talks. These were genuine attempts to bring influential people into the church. That's when religion and Hollywood began to mix. His beliefs were now influencing his work life. Around 1999, while making Eyes Wide Shut, Cruise distanced himself from Scientology once more. Church leaders had promised to give him information about Xenu, pero las cosas se complicaron. He came back, just like he always does. Tom Cruise met Nicole Kidman in early 1990, during the filming of Days of Thunder. Tenía 28 años, tenía 23 años. They connected right away. Less than a year after his divorce from Mimi Rogers, Tom married Nicole on Christmas Eve in Telluride, Colorado. It was quick, powerful, and very hopeful. Nicole later said, "I was so young when I got married. I look back now and I'm like, what?" But at that moment, they were completely committed. Nicole wanted to have kids as soon as possible. She said that as soon as Tom and I got married, I wanted to have children. However, something sad occurred early in their marriage. Nicole had a pregnancy that occurred outside the uterus. It was hurtful, both in body and heart. The baby did not make it. They were heartbroken. That loss led them to consider adoption. In 1992, they welcomed their daughter Isabella. In 1995, their son Connor became part of the family. The kids went with them to movie sets. For some time, it seemed like the ideal Hollywood family. They also collaborated on screen. In 1992, they portrayed Irish immigrants in Far and Away, a large-budget historical drama. The movie had a production cost of $60 million, and made $137.8 million globally. 7 years later, they worked together again on something much more serious. Stanley Kubrick's Eyes Wide Shut. Se suponía que iba a durar 6 meses el rodaje. 2 años pasaron. They filmed in England, far from everything. Kubrick kept them apart, and frequently asked them personal questions, incorporating parts of their real marriage into the story. Nicole mentioned that they went go-kart racing at 3 a.m. to relieve stress. She even mentioned that she would have stayed for a third year if Kubrick had asked. But he passed away 4 months before the film was released. It was his last movie, and one of the weirdest films they both ever made. Despite the glamour, their personal life was challenging. That early loss of pregnancy impacted them. Nicole later said, "We lost a baby early on, so that was really very traumatic." She talked openly about their difficulties, but adopting Bella and Connor helped them recover. It wasn't the family they expected, but it turned into the family they created. In February 2001, everything fell apart. Tom Cruise submitted a divorce petition. Nicole was caught off guard. Some reports indicate she was 3 months pregnant at that time, but unfortunately, she had a miscarriage. The divorce was completed in only 6 months. The children were with Tom in Los Angeles, Nicole Volbua, Australia. The family was divided. After the divorce, everything changed fast. By 2012, sources reported that Isabella and Connor felt closer to Katie Holmes, Tom's new wife, than to Nicole. Isabella once said, "I love Mom. Ella is mi mama, she is wonderful. A veces la veo y hablo con ella." However, the connection was clearly weakening. Nicole didn't picture this life when she married Tom. Throughout this time, Nicole was recording the hours. She felt heartbroken, but her performance was amazing. Ella ganó el Oscar. While the world cheered, she was quietly sad. Years later, she talked about how the divorce changed her. She said, "Men wasn't just another courtroom drama. It was a key moment in Cruise's career." His quick-talking, confident Navy lawyer stood out on screen, especially in the final scene when he asked for the truth, and Nicholson lost his cool. That one scene created a moment in movie history. The film made more than $243 million around the world, but more importantly, it showed Hollywood that Cruise was more than just a good-looking actor now. He could dive into serious topics, and still attract crowds to the theaters. In 1994, he took an even bigger risk. Él interpretó a un vampiro. Not just any vampire, but less taut, an alluring and perilous immortal in Interview with the Vampire. Anne Rice, the author of the book, disliked the casting and thought Cruise was not a good fit, but Cruise didn't mind. He immersed himself in the role, and when the movie came out, even Rice admitted she was mistaken. Ella compró un anuncio de página completa, para disculparse. That's how skilled he was. The movie was very successful, and Cruise showed once more that he was willing to take chances. Most stars were too scared to touch. By 1996, he wasn't just performing, he was in charge. Mission Impossible was more than just a film. Era su película. He created it, acted in it, and helped make it a huge success at the box office. It had an $80 million budget, and made $457 million. He even performed the crazy wire hanging scene by himself. People were no longer just watching Cruise, they were observing what Cruise would do next. That same year, he released Jerry Maguire to audiences. No armas, no acrobacias, solo corazón, el dinero. It wasn't just a comment. It became a part of popular culture. The film made $273 million, and earned Cruise his second Oscar nomination. He was no longer trying to become famous. Él era la estrella, and just when people thought they understood him, he changed things up again. In 1999, Cruise apareció en Magnolia, como Frank T.J. Mackey, is a loud and troubled man, who often puts on a tough front to hide his feelings. He didn't ask the crowd to like him, he challenged them to watch him for only 20 minutes on screen, and he took over the movie. He received another Oscar nomination, and won a Golden Globe. Critics who previously questioned him, were now admiring his courage. During this period, his personal life became the main focus. In 2000, while filming Vanilla Sky, he met Penelope Cruz. They connected right away, but they stayed private about it, until Cruz's divorce from Nicole Kidman was finalized. By 2001, he and Cruz were found everywhere, at red carpet events, in vacation pictures, and in positive interviews. Cruz appeared infatuated behind the scenes. He made her meals, planned surprises, and even considered asking her to marry him. But something was off. He couldn't connect with his kids. Cruz continued to talk about Hitman. The relationship began to break down. In 2004, they separated. The public was told it was due to overlapping film schedules, but sources close to the situation said it was mostly related to Scientology. After the breakup, something unusual occurred. Former Scientologists report that the church worked to find Cruz a new girlfriend. This was organized in an unusual way. Women in the church were questioned without realizing they were being considered as potential partners for Tom. It wasn't about love, it was about appearance, loyalty, and control. Cruz represented Scientology, and the church would do everything possible to make him happy. They even modified his cars, and changed a hangar into a private getaway, all to keep their golden boy happy. Next, we have one of the most troubling stories. Nazan and Boniadi. She was young, intelligent, and devoted to the church. Eso no fue suficiente. She needed to change her hair, her style, and her whole life, she needed to find out what Tom liked. When she made a small mistake while trying to follow the fast-speaking church leader, Cruise lost her temper and hit the table. Only 2 weeks later, she was broken up with. No talk, only a command. Later, she left the church and started a new life as an actress. Neither she nor Cruise ever said what happened, but a lot of people around them did. Then Katie Holmes arrived, April 2005. Cruise showed up in Rome with Holmes just 33 days after she finished her last engagement. The media went crazy. Tenía 26 años. Tenía 42 años. They began to call them Tomcat. Holmes had previously mentioned that she imagined marrying Cruise. Now they stood together, holding hands and smiling for the cameras. But people close to the situation talked about control, about how Scientology guides were watching her, and how quickly everything unfolded. Holmes no parecía y la chica de Dawson's Creek. She seemed overwhelmed. Luego llegó el sofá. 23 de mayo de 2005. Oprah's platform. Cruise was meant to promote War of the Worlds, but as soon as she asked about Holmes, he lost control. Él saltó. Él gritó. He knelt down and shook Oprah's hands. The audience clapped in an uncomfortable way. People watching at home couldn't tell if it was real or just a malfunction. The clip became widely popular before going viral was a common idea. Studios were in a state of panic. Paramount is said to have lost as much as $50 million. Women, especially those who had admired Cruise for years, suddenly pulled back. In just a few minutes, Hollywood's golden boy turned into a joke. Tom Cruise was very successful, but in June 2012, things changed suddenly. Katie Holmes filed for divorce unexpectedly, surprising him completely. They had been married for almost 6 years, but Holmes had a reason. She wanted to keep their daughter, Suri, safe from Scientology. Cruise confirmed this himself, in a lawsuit deposition a year later. Su equipo legal, había planeado todo en secreto. The divorce was completed in just 2 weeks. Katie not only left Tom, but she also left the church. Reports stated that she was worried Cruise wanted to completely involve Suri in Scientology, and she wasn't going to allow that. That wasn't the only setback. Years ago, in 2006, he faced a big setback in his career. Paramount Pictures, his longtime studio partner, ended their 14-year partnership. It was harsh and done in front of everyone. El presidente de Viacom dijo que el comportamiento reciente de Cruz había dañado su imagen y sus películas. Mission Impossible 3 made $390 million, which seemed impressive until you realized that War of the Worlds had earned $591 million. Just a year earlier, Forbes had ranked him as Hollywood's highest-paid actor, earning $67 million in 1 year. Pero nada de eso importaba. His reputation was too dangerous, so they let him go. Cruise had to rebuild quickly. In 2008, he did something totally surprising. He became less rude, loud, bald and foul-mouthed. It was a role that caught everyone by surprise. Cruise created the silly studio boss character by himself, Tropic Thunder. Wearing prosthetics and fake chest hair, he danced, yelled, and swore to win back Hollywood's approval. Viewers were surprised when they found out it was really him. The risk paid off. People were laughing with him again, not at him. Then came Mission Impossible, Ghost Protocol, in 2011. Cruise changed the franchise from being dramatic to focusing on thrilling action. He climbed the Burj Khalifa, the highest building in the world, using just a wire. That stunt, performed at 2,722 feet with winds of 79 miles per hour, changed everything. People stopped discussing his personal life, and began focusing on his courage. The movie made almost $700 million. He followed up with Rogue Nation in 2015, earning another $682 million. His return was genuine, but Cruise continued on. In Rogue Nation, he held on to the side of a real plane during takeoff at the age of 52. No green screen, no stunt double, just Cruise flying at 160 miles per hour. Insurance companies did not want to provide coverage for it. The studio had to create a special $50 million insurance policy, just for those scenes.
His legend was getting bigger, not as a celebrity, but as the last true action star in a time of CGI. Injuries didn't stop him. In 2017, during the filming of Mission Impossible: Fallout, he hurt his ankle while jumping between buildings in London. The cameras continued to record. He completed the shot. The injury caused production to stop for 2 months and increased the budget by $80 million. But Cruise bounced back quicker than expected and returned sooner than the doctors thought he would. While filming Dead Reckoning in 2023, he injured himself again, suffering a torn shoulder, cracked ribs, and a broken ankle. However, he completed the movie. Fans appreciated the authenticity. Critics enjoyed the action. He would not pretend at all. While most stars quickly signed streaming deals during the pandemic, Cruise stayed strong. El Dijo, Top Gun. Maverick needed to be watched in cinemas, and when it was finally released in 2022, it became very popular. $1.5 billion in worldwide ticket sales. The top success of the year. Más grande que Jurassic World, larger than anyone thought. It earned around $100 million from that movie alone. No era solo, una secuela. It was the best moment in her career. After 36 years, Top Gun returned. Cruise was also like that. He received a standing ovation at Cannes, and was given an honorary Palme d'Or. Some critics claimed it was better than the original, but there was something he kept quiet about behind the scenes. Suhaija, Suri. After the divorce, she reportedly stopped seeing him. The last known communication happened in 2013. Ella solo tenía 7 años. When Suri turned 18 en 2024, she dropped her last name. Ahora se llama Suri. Noel, es el segundo nombre de Holmes. Ella se dirige a la Universidad Carnegie Mellon. Former Scientologists suggest that the church's disconnection policy could be a cause of the issue. Katie left the church, which might have marked her as a suppressive person, and Suri, related to her as a possible troublemaker. Eso significa que Cruz pudo haber cortado lazos debido a su fe. He still visits his adopted children from his marriage to Nicole Kidman. Connor and Isabella stayed in the church, but Suri is no longer in his life, and no rumors are spreading again. In 2025, Cruz, who is now 62, was seen several times with Ana de Armas. It began with a calm Valentine's dinner in London. Then she arrived with her dogs at a heliport, using Cruz's private helicopter. A few days later, they left David Beckham's birthday party together at 3 a.m., trying to avoid the cameras. People magazine claims they are just friends, but the pictures suggest otherwise. Both are single, both are celebrities, and the talk just keeps going.